Most people are located and produce a polarized world where Muslims will have no choice, because they're being persecuted all over the world, but to join them.
Nafis, I mean, do they believe that if they do all that and they create all this chaos and they create this war, that they could lose this war?
I don't think they're so worried about that. They know that they have almost a Medusa-like ability, that if they get their head cut off, let's say in Syria, that they can decentralize, they can pop up somewhere in Libya, for instance. Like the volcanoes of jihad speech that Baghdadi gave, he sees jihad as not necessarily just being in one particular location, but erupting all over the world. So in some sense, they see themselves as just being able to manifest themselves continuously. The jihad doesn't have to physically be in any one particular location.
Scott, what reaction would you recommend in both France and the United States to what happened in Paris?
Well, there's a short-term and a long-term reaction. I mean, in the short term, the Islamic State must be destroyed, but not destroyed with our own ground troops. That would be a disaster. Then we already have Al-Qaeda 2.0, which is much more noxious than the old Al-Qaeda. We'll get 3.0. What we should do, I think, as I wrote with General Stone back in the New York Times back in April, is give the means necessary to the people who can do the job. For example, the Kurds, including the PKK and the YPG. But in the long run, we've got to find a way to embrace the people who are going to join ISIS. I mean, this is a struggle for future generations. And what we find is that the whole discourse throughout the Muslim world is being shaped now by what ISIS has done. For example, one imam in Barcelona told us, look, we're against the violence of Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State, but the caliphate has always been in our hearts, and it's here to stay, and they put us on the map. We're here now. People recognize...
They, meaning the Islamic State, put us on the map.
Put us on the map. We were the forgotten people of Europe. Now people take notice of who we are. We don't want their violence. We do want a caliphate. Maybe it'll be like a European Union of Muslim peoples. But if we ignore those passions, like some of our diplomats are doing, saying that it's just... The counter-narratives that we're giving is simply, you know, they're bad, they behead people, they do terrible things to women. Like, didn't we know that already?
Mm-hmm. Nafis, when you hear the story of this young woman who became a suicide bomber the other night in Paris when that raid was going on, and we hear about her basically progressing to extremism relatively quickly, she sounds like some of the people you talk about in this article that you've met.
Yeah, often, I mean, feelings of frustration, of being disaffected, of a personal grievance, of moral outrage can build over years and years and years. But oftentimes the transition from just being a regular person to someone who's willing to fight and die happens relatively quickly. And the important thing to understand is that these people are not transitioning to just become a devout Muslim. They're transitioning specifically to become a mujahid, which is a Muslim warrior. And it's kind of like when people don't understand why these people want to go off and fight and die, it's like asking, why would someone want to become a samurai? In their minds, these people are modern samurai. I was talking to one guy from London who's in Syria right now. He originally went there to join ISIS, and then he switched to Jabhat al-Nusra, which is the Al-Qaeda affiliate. And he was saying, when I was younger, I used to read these religious texts and these history books about these ancient Islamic warriors, and I would picture the Middle East, and I would picture these deserts and these two armies, these beautiful horses and warriors on top of them with swords out and flags flailing, coming at each other. And I thought to myself, what's the modern equivalent of this? Well, the horses are replaced by Toyota pickup trucks, the swords are replaced with Kalashnikovs, and those flags are the flags of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And so being a mujahid today is being part of that lineage, that history, that culture of honor that they want to associate themselves with.
And Scott, as I read your article, the religious component becomes less important than it does in other analysis that I've seen, especially the religious history of some of these people. They do not come from religious backgrounds, 80% from non-religious families in what you've found out about them.
Yeah, they're almost all from youth, from transitional stages in life, between jobs, girlfriends, students, immigrants, having left their native family and looking for a new family of fellow travelers and friends. And they're born again into it in their late teens and early 20s. Very few have any kind of religious education at all. Madrasas have no role in this, hardly at all. And when I interview ISIS guys in the Middle East, captured ISIS guys and Nusra guys in the Middle East just a few months ago, none of them had any idea of what was in the Quran, other than what they've been told by Al-Qaeda and ISIS. They didn't know who the first caliphs are, which is the basis for all of ISIS's repertoire of ideas. But ISIS provides a message that is powerful and that speaks, as Orwell said in his review of Mein Kampf, of Hitler's Mein Kampf, it speaks to the notion of glory and adventure and self-sacrifice, and human beings intermittently need that. And what we're offering on the other side is ease, security, avoidance of risk. It can't compete.
Nafiz Hamid and Scott Atran, thank you both very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Coming up, one of the negotiators of the Iran nuclear deal, Ambassador Wendy Sherman, will join us with her analysis of the situation against the Islamic State.
The cold truth is,
Okay, kids, let's go.
no one can really fill your shoes when you're sick. Alka-Seltzer Plus Hot Drink Mix has 4 cold symptom